Now straight to the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has urged religious leaders and faith-based organizations to remain committed to working with the government to improve the welfare of citizens and build strong families. He made the remarks while attending the Rwanda Shima Imana gathering here in Kigali. Adam Squizera with the details.
At Amahoro Stadium, worship and praise through music took center stage. Each song performed at the Rwanda Shima Imana gathering carried a message of thanksgiving from Rwandans and foreigners from different backgrounds and religious denominations who joined in singing and dancing and other forms of worship. The chairperson of Rwanda Shima Imana organizing committee, Reverend Pastor Isainda Izeye, said Rwandans have many reasons to thank God following the dark period the country went through during the genocide against Tutsi in 1994, including having a country now guided by a clear vision and brighter future shared by all. Pastor Jimmy Muyango, the head of Peace Plan, which organizes the annual gathering, said Rwanda's achievements are remarkable and should not be taken for granted. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva, who attended this year's Rwanda Shima Imana gathering on behalf of the President of the Republic, commended the contribution of religious organizations and faith-based communities to nation building. An occasion like this is also a good time to recognize once again the importance and impact of the partnership between the government and religious organizations and faith-based communities. The achievements we are thanking God for today would not have been possible if the government had worked alone. As a government, we appreciate your contribution to building citizens with strong values, strengthening stable and secure families, and promoting love, unity, peace, forgiveness, transparency, and patriotism. The Prime Minister also urged religious leaders and faith-based organizations to strengthen their role in addressing harmful behaviors, including alcohol abuse among young people. The Rwanda Shima Imana gathering was launched in 2012 with the aim of providing Rwandans with an opportunity to thank God for what he has done for the country and to entrust the nation to him.
Government officials and mental health experts have noted that alcohol abuse is undermining gender equality and healthy relationships within families, with excessive drinking often fueling conflict, violence, and the breakdown of marriages. William Evans Mutabazi with more.
For Gerard Sinumvayabo, a father of 6, excessive drinking once brought constant conflict into his home. He says frequent drunkenness led to arguments with his wife and pushed his family close to a breaking point. For someone drunk, arguing and confrontations with others is not something so hard to do. Some are just lucky to be married to Christian women who often choose to bear with them. I have been a culprit of this and oftentimes would regret the confrontations after sobering up. In parts of Kigali, some neighborhoods became associated with unusual names linked to violence and disorder attributed to excessive consumption of illicit alcohol known locally as Ibyuma. Residents say the drinking culture affected family safety, with some men and women spending long hours drinking while leaving children at home. There are instances where women would bring their children to the bars and never go back home. This sparked family conflicts, but now that has been resolved. If you go in the center, there are people that have turned into alcohol addicts. For some, it has even made them look older than their actual age. Mental health counselor Musika Bibi says that alcohol can intensify tensions within families and trigger conflict. Many do not have the utterance to share with their families what they need, and when this happens, communication breaks, and the results are family conflicts or even violence at worst. Some effects can be seen, but others are psychological and not seen, but could influence bad outcomes. The Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion says that addressing alcohol abuse is also important to achieving gender equality within households. When you go out to communities, the principal value of equality dictates that a community must fight against inequality in all forms and promote equality. This aligns perfectly with the campaign against illicit alcoholic beverages in general. More than 10 days after the government banned substandard alcoholic drinks, residents in some areas previously associated with alcohol-related disorders say the situation has changed. They say the areas have become safer and some have even started referring to them differently.
Rwanda is tightening controls on the preparation and serving of traditional drinks at public events, with rural residents saying the measures are improving hygiene and reducing the risk of harmful substances being added to locally brewed beverages. William Evans Mutawazi continues.
Across Rwanda, there have been cases of many people falling ill and in some instances dying after consuming drinks or food served at public gatherings. I returned home shortly after consuming the juice they had served me. Moments later, I felt a fever and started vomiting. By the following morning, diarrhea had kicked in and I was hospitalized. Under the new guidelines, anyone organizing an event where traditional drinks such as ichigaje, ubushera or urwagwa will be served must notify local authorities, provide details of the venue, and obtain the required authorization. Residents say the measures have made event organizers more cautious about the safety of what they serve. You go to the village leadership and explain the quantity of beverage you plan to make and the visitors you expect. Then the leadership inspects the tools you will use, and if you have the right equipment and ingredients, all these must be clean. You can brew your traditional drinks in a safe manner that won't cause problems for people. But some have interpreted the regulation as restrictions on crops traditionally used to make these drinks. The Minister of Local Government, Dominique Habimana, says the measures are intended to protect public health while providing clear standards for the preparation and serving of traditional beverages. Another issue we've identified with traditional beverages is that people mix them with other things, including ethanol. This is not normal, that after a local feast, people fall sick or even die. It simply implies that local beverages have been mixed up with other alcoholic beverages, and sometimes this adds to the poor hygiene and other factors, and people end up sick. The regulations and guidelines, therefore, come in handy to fix this and to protect public health while providing clear standards for the preparation and serving of traditional beverages. The guidelines are also part of the broader efforts to crack down on substandard and illicit alcoholic drinks. Authorities say some traditional breweries had been mixing locally made beverages with other chemical substances, sometimes without even having the traditional crops normally used in their production. The government says the focus is not eliminating traditional drinks, but on ensuring that when they are served at public gatherings, they meet basic safety and hygiene requirements and do not put consumers' health at risk.
Residents that were relocated from several of the country's islands have affirmed that the government resettlement program has transformed their lives for the better, moving them away from areas that were hindering their development efforts. But as some celebrate the new start, others still living on the islands say they too should be relocated and not left behind in Rwanda's transformation journey. William Evans Mutabazi once more.
For Theogene Bonimha, life on Mazane Island is now a memory. He is among residents relocated to Mhunga Nzeli Model Village in Gwel sector, Bugesera district, a move he says took his family from an environment where their safety was constantly at risk. We had a primary school, and upon completion, our children would not find a secondary school, and if a mother needed to deliver, they would be sold off to Nzangwa Health Center, and many ended up giving birth midway the journey because of how complex the movement was. There is even a time we lost about 6 people trying to cross the water back from getting food supplies for their families. I highly suspect that was the trigger and the beginning of something new, and that is how the government decided to bring us here. The new settlement has housing and basic infrastructure designed to bring essential public services closer and give residents better opportunities to improve their livelihoods. In our houses, we simply press switches and have light. They have given me a cow and I now get milk, and I'm doing well compared to the life I lived on the island. Access to healthcare is quick now, and if you want to travel to any place, the roads are nearby and vehicles are readily available. Before 2015, more than 450 households lived on Manzane and Sharita Islands in Bugesera, and these were earmarked for relocation. The Mbunganze resettlement was established for families moved from Manzane, while another settlement at Chivusha received more than 60 families relocated from Sharita in 2024. Residents say the move has significantly changed their lives. In Sharita, we had no road network and access to basic facilities was very difficult. The life we are living now is so much different from that of people that are still living in Sharita. The relocation program extends beyond Bugesera. In July 2025, Rwanda's Senate said Nhombo Island should be the only one of the country's 14 inhabited islands to remain populated, with residents on the other 13 gradually relocated because the islands do not meet the requirements for safe habitation. The citizens living in islands that are not safe for their families. These also lack access to basic services and have to move to find them. A Senate committee report found that 14 islands are home to more than 4,600 households, nearly 25,000 people. Nhombo alone accounted for more than 18,000 residents, which is about 72.7% of the total island population. But while some communities have already moved to safer grounds, others are still waiting. On Sharita Island, more than 90 families remain. For pregnant mothers, many end up delivering in unsafe conditions because when they are about to deliver, the means to cross the waters are not available. Bugesera district authorities had promised that the remaining residents would be relocated by April this year, but construction of the 94 houses intended for the families have been moving slowly, raising concerns among residents ahead of the rainy season. Our observation is that no construction works are actually going on. We have overly waited for the completion of the construction, but in vain. The Minister in charge of Emergency Management, Major General Retired Albert Murasira, says that the National Relocation Program remains underway. We are working collaboratively to ensure that people settled in islands are relocated to safer areas. The relocation program is being supported through the 2026-2027 budget, which includes 146 billion Rwandan francs for urban and rural settlement development and other 157 billion Rwandan francs for social protection. For citizens who have already moved, the message is clear. Relocation has brought safety and opportunity. For those still on the island, the expectation is that the same promise of safety will reach them too. William Evans, RTV News.
Members of the RPF Inkotanyi party in Rusizi district say that they are set to strengthen efforts to address the challenges affecting the Rwandan society, including intensifying the fight against illicit drugs, be it their trafficking and consumption. They made the announcement during the party's General Assembly at the district level, where they reviewed their achievements during the 2025-2026 fiscal year and set priorities for the current 2026-2027 fiscal year. Adam Squizera with more.
The activities of the RPF Inkotanyi focus on improving the lives of citizens. During the 2025-2026 fiscal year, the RPF members in Rusizi district built 11 houses for vulnerable families, while another 19 houses are currently under construction and nearing completion. The RPF Ngotanyi members General Assembly in Rusizi held on Sunday reviewed achievements from the previous financial year and adopted strategies for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Among the areas identified as requiring greater attention was drug abuse, particularly among young people, as well as smuggling, which deprives the government of revenue. The mayor of Rusizi district, Sindai Hewafanwea, says the General Assembly has left the district with an important responsibility, particularly after it was noted that some members themselves are not setting a good example for the other citizens. Commissioner at the National Executive Secretariat of the RPF Ngotanyi, Dr. Papias Nijena, says Rusizi district has many opportunities that can be harnessed for development, but this will depend largely on the members themselves, especially considering that they account 98.7% of the district's population. The RPF Ngotanyi General Assembly in Rusizi district also identified challenges including saturation of substandard alcoholic beverages and rising market prices. More than 500 members attended the assembly were urged to become catalysts for solutions, including by contributing to value addition of locally produced goods instead of allowing them to be smuggled and sold in other countries.
I'll be with you again as we begin the week. Until you see me again, goodbye.